Good afternoon YouTube and welcome to a new series here at 3 PM. If you're watching this around release date, thank you for joining me on your New Year's Day, or really any time in the early part of New Year. And if you're not joining me on release day, where have you been? I really do wish you a very happy, healthy and prosperous new year. And if you like what you see, perhaps you'll stick with me and make 2021 the year that we follow Norwich City into greatness. Hopefully on and off the pitch, it has to be said. Now, just giving away a little spoiler here about what this new series is about. This new series is called Norwich City. Yes, imaginative, I know. You'll never guess who it is I'm playing with. And if you say Ipswich Town, well, the door is over there. But seriously, I thought of all sorts of snazzy titles for this particular series. I started out with On the Ball City. That's been done lots. I then thought of shortening it in a creative fit to OTBC, which is like the common forum abbreviation for On the Ball City. And then thought, nah, it's just a bit, done as well, isn't it? So I thought, what about Let's Be Avenue?
Let's Be Avenue!
Again, done. Thank you, Delia, as well, for that particular chestnut in Norwich City history. And then thought, what about Not a Partridge in Sight? Outing myself as perhaps the only non-fan of Alan Partridge in the whole of Bloom and Norfolk. In the end, I thought, this doesn't need a snazzy title. This is not a series where I'm aiming to do something like take Norwich through to the Champions League and win everything like I did with my Dominator series with Manchester City. This is not a series I'm aiming to jump around from club to club to make it a Road to Glory challenge or anything of that kind of sort. This is just a game of Football Manager 2021 that I'm bringing you guys along for the ride. So without further ado, let's get straight into the game. We are playing as Norwich City. We've got the game fired up. It's all ready to go. So guys, here we are. We are in the boardroom at Carrow Road itself. We have replaced Daniel Farker as manager of Norwich City on a 2-year deal worth 18.75k a week. Not a bad salary to be having as a first job in football management, is it? Delia Smith is our director, welcoming us to Carrow Road, and she gives us a rundown of the history of the club. Formed in 1902, we suffered relegation from the Premier League last season, and we will need to adjust to life in the EFL Championship. We play at Carrow Road and have training facilities, great training facilities and excellent youth facilities, and we have a fierce rivalry with Ipswich Town. I absolutely agree with that. And this is predicted the best team that we have at the club at the moment. We've got in goal Tim Krul, recently recalled back to the Dutch national team. Max Aarons at right back, one of the hottest right back prospects in the country, let alone in this division. Left back, loanee Xavi Quintilla from Villarreal. In the middle of defence, Zimmerman and Gibson. Gibson on loan from Burnley. Zimmerman being our German central defender plucked from Borussia Dortmund's reserves. And in midfield, Lucas Rupp, a January signing in our failed Premier League season, and Oliver Skipp, the Tottenham Hotspur loanee, who's started life for real with Norwich City, very, very well indeed. Then we have a very exciting front four. On the right, Emi Buendia, one of the hottest prospects creatively that the club has ever had, let alone in this team at the moment. Todd Cantwell through the middle, and Todd has had a bit of a rocky life with Norwich fans, often being seen as a bit self-entitled, but actually I don't see that at all in him. I see a very good young player who I think, if he can stay with Norwich, will be really the centre point of the Norwich City success story. And Anel Hernandez on the left, a tricky Cuban winger. He's the first Cuban to play in the Premier League. Up front is a man that needs no introduction. He is probably the household Norwich name after Delia Smith. It is Teemu Pukki, and that finishes a very talented core of players. The board have a set idea as to how they want the club to progress. They want us to play possession football, develop players using the youth system, and to sign players under the age of 21 for the future, working within the wage budget. They want us to win promotion this year, which is a tall order. That's a top 2 finish in the English Championship for those that aren't familiar with it. with us reaching the 4th round minimum of the FA Cup and the 3rd round minimum of the EFL Cup. So this is not like my Manchester City save, where certain trophies didn't matter. Everything matters to Norwich City. And that's going to make us make this an interesting challenge, at least for the first season. So here we go then, we are on the very first inbox screen, and you can see we've got all the usual inbox items that greets a new manager at any new club. We've got a few players out of contract at the end of this season, to say the least. A lot of young players, but perhaps in the first team, Alex Tettey, now 34, a stalwart for this team for the last goodness knows how long. Mario Vrancic, a player that a lot of Norwich fans thinks doesn't get enough of a chance. And our backup goalkeeper, Michael McGovern, Northern Ireland international. And then you have, as I say, a large number of young players who have a variety of different potentials and variety of different current abilities. So we're going to go through those and just see what it is we can do to sort out those contracts that we want to sort now, and perhaps allow certain players to move on that we don't want to do so sooner rather than later, because there's no point in keeping a lot of these players around if they're not going to make it. So this is the first team squad, and I have to say I'm a little bit concerned already. How unbalanced this team is quite shocking, really, and I'll show you what I mean. Let's start from the front and work our way back. So up front, we have 4 players in the first team squad, one of them out on loan, that being Carlton Morris. In fact, we have 5 players, because I've forgotten Josip Dermic. So 5 players up front, Carlton Morris out on loan. We've got the main man, Teemu Pukki, and he is a superb player at this level. Keeping him firing and happy is going to make all the difference with this team. And then you've got new player Jordan Hugel, who I actually think is a very good alternative striker. And then you have Josip Dermic, who is really not very good, is he? I mean, let's be honest. He can play anywhere down the left or up front, so that's a bonus, I guess. But he lacks statistics to make him, I think, effective at anything. The young lad, Adam Eder. Now, Eder is somebody I've brought through from the youth team. He starts in the under-23s. And he starts, I think, up for loan, and I think I haven't changed that yet. So I've got a big decision to make as to whether or not I want to perhaps keep Josip Dermic for a season to be my third choice striker, or try and offload him and send Adam Eder out for some loan time, because he's got everything that is needed to be a really very good player, not to mention 5-star potential ability. And then you move to the wings, and on the wings you've got obviously Emi Buendia, and it goes without saying just how good this guy is. He's probably the best player of his kind in the division, maybe with Ismail Assar of Watford. But then you also have our new Polish winger, Przemysław Pacheta, who is a speed demon with acceleration 17 and pace of 18, but lacks really the finesse of a talented, again, potential there to develop. So he's somebody that I'm going to be interested to see how he develops, and if we can get his technicals up a bit more, he will be a very effective player. And Anel Hernandez is perhaps a little less quick, but a little more skillful, but not by a huge amount. And his ability is perhaps a bit closer to his current potential ability, but his value and his wage and the fact he starts wanted means he may be a player I look to move on. So that's 2 of our wingers. And we've got Todd Cantwell, who can play all across that front, the attacking midfield 3. And he's got all the right statistics in all the right places and potential to still get better again. So he's somebody, as I said at the start, I want to build the team around him. It's when you step back into central midfield, you just realise just how unbalanced this squad is, because you've got Jakob Sorensen, so that's 1. Alexander Tettey, that's 2. Moritz Leitner, that's 3. Ollie Skip, that's 4. Mario Vrancic, that's 5. Kenny McLean, that's 6. Lucas Rupp, that's 7. Kieran Dowell, that's 8. Marco Stiepermann, that's 9. 9 players for what is effectively going to be at most 3 positions. I mean, that's just ridiculous. We're going to have half of these players kicking off around January that none of them are seeing anywhere near the amount of game time that they'd like. And then when you consider that huge number of central midfielders, it just boggles the mind how we've been able to get such a small number of defenders in. I mean, we've got at right back Max Aarons. Period. That's it. No more right backs in the squad. And don't get me wrong, Max is very good indeed. He is probably the best right back in the division. But he needs somebody there to back him up. Because Sam Byram, his understudy, is out for 6 months, pretty much the whole of the season. So we need a right back. At left back, Xavi Quintea. Again, period. End. There is no alternative there. So we're going to need a left back as well. Because you see here, Philip Heiser, who is not very good in real life, but actually pretty good in Football Manager, has been let out on loan. But that's identified 2 additions we need to make, a right back and a left back. And then we only have 3 recognised centre-backs. Grant Hanley, who starts life injured, returning to training in 5 days. Ben Gibson on loan, and Christoph Zimmermann. Our 4th choice, Tim Closer, out on loan to Basel. And then we have the 2 keepers, Tim Krul and Michael McGovern. You know, one injury to them is going to result in us needing a 3rd keeper. So you can see there, we've got a good strike force, a good attacking midfield, an overabundance of central midfielders. God knows what we do with all of them. And then an absolute lack of defenders. It's just the most unbalanced side. I've mentioned loanees. You can see in the first team alone, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 loanees out on loan at other clubs. And you look at the development centre, we have a total of 22 players out on loan. It's just not feasible having this number of loanees out on loan at any one time. And I know that's how the club do it now in real life, but Football Manager just not going to work. An interesting picture at Norwich this year. You know, Norwich in the past, Football Managers have had very good, very well balanced sides that don't need much work doing to them. This is a side that needs some work in order to, I think, prepare for the rigours of what is a very demanding championship season. Obviously, the late start to the season due to the pandemic means there are an awful lot of games played in a very short space of time. We effectively start in the middle of September and finish around the same time as usual. So you've got months like, for example, January, where you're looking at least, 6 games there? December. Usually a very busy time, but particularly busy this year. That's 7 games? 3, 6, 7, 8 games? 8 games, all in the league in December. I mean, that's when this league is going to be won or lost, isn't it? Rotation is going to be the order of the day. I think getting 2 good players for every position is going to be important, and I think it's going to be an interesting summer of ins and outs. Well, oh my good God, I've just come onto the finance screen and this red box down below is scaring the bejeebers out of me. Sky Bet Championship, the club is projected to fail the financial fair play regulations. I mean, how on earth is that the case? We've sold like £30 million worth of players, haven't we? £8 million in, 40 million out. How on earth are we failing financial fair play with a £40 million sale? Oh dear. So, by my understanding of how financial fair play works in Football Manager, we need this figure not to exceed this figure. So we're allowed to make £15 million worth of losses. We're currently making £21.52 million worth of losses, meaning we need to make up £6.52 million somehow in order to pass financial fair play or get promoted to the Premier League. Because in the Premier League, this would not matter. That puts a lot of added pressure onto us. We're now going to have to try and balance the books as well. So on that bombshell, ladies and gentlemen, we are having to balance not just an unbalanced squad, but the books as well here at Norwich City for our first season to mount a promotion challenge. It is a tough task. It has to be said. There aren't many clubs that are going to be able to sell players, rebuild, and mount a promotion challenge, but I still think this club can do it. We've got the players here. It's just a case now of making some clever moves in the transfer market to hopefully maximise our sales and bring in some decent players in their place. We're hoping to make episodes weekly, Fridays at 3 p.m. Please do like and subscribe to keep up to date with what's happening in the series. And there may very well be additional episodes come out just as and when I'm able to get ahead of myself. Follow me on Twitter, details coming on screen right now, where you'll be able to find out exactly what's happening when. And do like and subscribe to these videos. It means so much to me that people take time out to watch these videos. And any comments you can make about how I'm editing the videos, tips and tricks about things that I could do better, anything at all, I'd be very grateful to receive those. So join us next time where we'll have a bit of an update for you. We'll take you through what we've done. We'll take you through hopefully our pre-season before we launch properly into the season next Friday. Thank you very much. A happy new year to you again. Take care.